Hello everyone. Yeah, welcome back to the channel. If you're first time watching it, welcome to the channel. So today we have the Cube Controls GTX wheel. Just to say, I have bought this with my own money. I guess I want to say that because when I'm kind of reviewing this, I'm going to be quite critical because this did cost a lot of money. It's about £1,500. So I'm going to be very kind of critical with it. But just to summarise, if you're not want to watching the whole video, I do think it's a very good wheel. And I know there's been some very in-depth videos, reviews by kind of like Boosted Media and Barry Rowland on the Sim Racing Garage. And this isn't going to be quite as in-depth as that, but it's going to be my kind of overview of what my impressions of it. So I'm going to start off with a Pro, and this is the wheel. The wheel itself, it is suede, I believe. You can buy this separately, or you can buy it in the Zero Light version. Now, I find it very comfortable for my hands. I have kind of no complaints with this. Whether it'd wear a lot more, but you should be able to clean that up. But in general, yeah, I find that wheel very good. If we're going to go on to the buttons, now, if you've ever owned a Cube Controls, because I have a Cube Controls Formula wheel, it feels very much the same as that. I actually really like these buttons. They're probably the favourite buttons that I've tried on any wheel. And I have owned like Asher, and I find these just have more of a click. But whether you'd like that, I think that's very subjective. But we will go on to a first con, and that is all these buttons feel very much the same. They have that nice click. When we come up to these top two, they still have that nice click. I don't know if you can hear it. But for some reason, it just feels a little bit hollow behind. Like the switch on the board is just got that tiny bit of flex. It's the only way I can really describe it. It's not like a huge issue, and to be fair, I don't use these that much. I just use them to change the screen display. But even so, I think for the price, I would have liked to have more of a how could I name it? I think it's not quite as stable. I mean, it feels the same every time you click it, but it just doesn't have. It's got a bit hollow behind it, just that little bit. And it's not. I'm being very critical there, but I think again for the price, I think I'd want it feeling the same all the way around. Yeah, and we'll kind of carry on the front here because we're kind of looking at the rotary knobs. Brilliant. I'd say they would. I'm comparing it to my Formula Pro Cube Controls, and they were very good. And these may be slightly better. I mean, they're really good rotaries. I have no complaints there again. But I'm trying to kind of justify what may be costing more. And obviously this big screen I think is going to be a lot to attribute to that. But no complaints there. Have they improved them? I'm not sure. Might be because this is newer. But they do feel really good. And same with these. They feel very nice. One of the things I have noticed actually, and I don't know if it's coming up on the video, I find it a little bit more tricky to get there with this wheel. It's not like a deal breaker or anything like that, but I've just noticed it's a little bit harder to get in there at times. Now, I'm just looking at all the buttons, and okay, so we have the analog, and I have no issues kind of moving that up and down, left, right. And I know this has been said in other videos, but kind of using the rotary part of it is very difficult, especially with gloves on. And I would have personally maybe preferred this, I don't know. Like on the Fanatic wheels, they're a bit further up, more on your thumb placement. But again, I think that's subjective, and it's not a bad, analog stick by any means. It has a positive click each way. But again, I think that could be slightly improved, whether it's moved in placement and maybe raised that a little bit like people have said, because it is hard to get behind it. So yeah, and then we'll get to the screen in a bit actually. I'm going to turn this thing around so we can kind of look. Now I've got the 6 paddle version, and I'm actually really pleased I've done this. So the clutch, I've never owned clutch paddles, but this has a real kind of strength to it. Feels good quality, and you can adjust it. If you see that, you can adjust the biting point. So I'm really happy with them. No complaints. You can adjust them in and out on the pedals. No flex to it, because I mean these are fit. I think it's 4 or 5 millimeter thick carbon. No complaints there. If we go to the top paddles first, these feel like the Formula Pro ones, which are nice, to be honest. I really do like these feel. And I actually use this for kind of pit limiter and flash my lights. And they're very easy to grab, and they feel really nice. I wasn't quite sure whether to get it or not, but I'm very pleased that I did, because I do like that. Now these are, the R-Spec pedals. Now these have a lot of adjustability, and they feel good. I think I was quite surprised with how good these felt. These definitely feel the best pedals I've had. Better than Ash's, in my opinion. Again, this is all subjective, but I really do like these pedals. I like the kind of size of them, even the kind of indents of the holes. My fingers just go into them. And the adjustability, you can move them out. You can adjust this pedal in and out that way, and you can adjust the throw. And this initially has quite a small throw to them, but I actually like that, because I don't want to be having to click a long way before it clicks. When I'm racing, I just want it to be like quite instant. And you definitely notice that. I guess the one con with this, they're definitely noisier. So if you listen to this one, I mean that's fairly noisy, but this one, that's noisier again. So if you're in a room with others, I think that that certainly could be a bit of an issue. But for me, I've got to say the pedals and the clutch, very happy with them. Very happy with the whole construction of the actual wheel itself. The quick release went on really easy. It just goes onto the hub. I've not noticed any flex there. If there is, it's very, very minimal. Now, I guess going on to another con is the charging cable. Sorry, it's not a charging cable, because there's actually a wired one. So it's the wired cable. But if you do have a wireless wheel, which I do, which I've mentioned again about the Wireless Pro, I would have much, much preferred if this was metal. Like everything else feels really good. Kind of, you can see they've put a lot of effort into making this a good, solid wheel. And then you have the plastic connection. It doesn't quite make sense to me. I think for the money that you're going to buy this, I think certainly I would be expecting more of a metal construction with that. It just, I don't know. It does the job, and I've not had any issues with it, but I guess it's just being mindful when you're buying a wheel for this kind of money. There are other wheels that would have metal connections. Just putting that out there. So let's look at the screen now. Let's get to the screen, because I think this is another pro and a con, to be quite honest. So the pro is the actual screen itself is really good. Very bright, very vibrant. And I love that it's actually set higher on the wheel, because when I've got it on my rig, it kind of integrates with my monitor and it just looks like it's in the car. And I love it. I love it for that. And I think a lot of the money that you're buying on this wheel is, there's an attribute to that, because obviously the Zero one, yes, it has slightly less buttons, but it doesn't have the screen. And I don't think you have the option for the extra paddles. But saying that, I guess going to the cons, it's the software, which I guess again subjective, but I think it's kind of a con, but also a pro. The software is very in depth. You can do a lot of it. You can adjust like all the different, because all these buttons actually light up. You can adjust it all. So in that sense, it's very good, but it's not, I wouldn't say it's that user friendly. Now I'm coming from kind of like SimHub or Z1 Dashboard, more so SimHub lately. That seems a lot easier to set up. This may be a little bit more in depth. So again, if you've got the time and you put your time to it and you get used to everything going around it, again, I would probably say that is a pro, but it would still be nice if you could. And maybe I'm wrong, and you can you add SimHub? I don't know any way of doing it. If you can, please do leave a comment below, because I would love to be able to kind of have that as well as that option. And I guess that was a con, is it stuck to that Ultimate Game Tech. But it is good software. It's just very in depth. So yeah, I guess just the overview. And actually, if I can, I'll plug it in. I'm not sure, because you need 2 USBs, which it comes with, and I'm only going to plug in one. So I'm not quite sure. It may light up. Okay, it seems to be okay. It's lit up for a second, so you can see kind of the lights all lit up in the screen. And I think it looks a really, really nice wheel. Let's just say it. I like the look of it. I think, again, subjective, but I love the look of this wheel. That's what kind of really attracted me to it. So, getting to the point, would I recommend this? Let's have a see. I think with anything, if I'm just going to go into kind of like I guess go off on one here, but I have a SimiCube 2 Pro, and that is a good direct drive wheel. Now there is the SimiCube 2 Ultimate, which, is it better than the Pro? Yes. Does the money justify the difference between them? I don't think so. That's, again, my opinion, and I think this very much kind of translates with this wheel. Can you get wheels at a lower price that are fairly close to what you would be getting here? Yeah, I think so. I think when you start paying for higher end gear like this, the difference between them are more minimal, but they are very subtle. But saying that this is a really, really good wheel, and it is the best wheel I've owned. I think when you're spending that kind of money, you're paying over the odds to get the very top of the range stuff. And I guess that's where I was going with the Ultimate and the Pro. Because this, just saying in reference, this is more of like the Ultimate to where, like the Formula Pro wheel, which is a good wheel. And I've had like the Martin Asher plate. And again, that's a really good plate. This is better, but you are paying over the odds more. So if you're putting kind of pound, or if you call them dollar, to how good it is, maybe not be worth it, but I think there's a niche market for kind of this, and I'm really happy with my purchase. It is a really good wheel, and I will continue to keep using it. So yeah, I hope you like this. If you do have any kind of like comments or questions or anything like that, I'm happy to kind of answer. I try to kind of regularly look at it and kind of answer people with, you know, anything they have. So yeah, if you did like the video, please give me a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down, and subscribe if you want. Thank you.